Okay, everybody, welcome to episode number 39. Welcome to the Daily Closing. Great being with you.
We're almost a señora de las cuatro décadas.
We're almost getting there. We're about to. It's all downhill from this point on.
I'm not allowed anybody to tell you that. I'm not there yet, but I'm not going downhill.
40's the new 20.
What do you mean you're not there yet?
I'm not.
40's the new 20, right?
I'm
40's the new
20.
Do not.
20.
Do not. This guy just had a birthday. And
Yeah. It's the new 22. So
Once we pass all of our ages, then we know the podcast is getting a lot older.
It's getting there.
Yes,
But great having you. Great seeing you guys. Great, Lorena, Alexi. Definitely a couple of things that we definitely got to cover is we've been talking day in and day out about this whole situation in the border and the wall. And I have great news to report. Apparently, we are going back to building a wall.
I don't know if that's great news.
We're gonna jump into that.
Great news?
Well, we're gonna break it down. We're gonna see how it happened, why it happened, and the funny thing is that apparently it's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So, second thing is that we definitely got to touch upon is the Speaker of the House. You know what I mean? Even though a reporter was going around New York and was asking some of the young people, what do you think about the changes of the Speaker of the House? And they said, well, what brand are you talking about? You know what I mean? You can always change the Speaker in the House. And I'm like, oh man, this is why we are where we are right now. No clue what's going on and nothing exactly. But in addition to that, guys, the Trump placed and his attorneys placed a request for a state. Because the judge that's presiding over the so-called fraud trial in New York, Manhattan, literally issued an order terminating the business licenses of the Trump organization in New York. Oh, wow. And, bro, I mean, we're going to go into that, but I will tell you that's such a scary situation that one liberal judge has the power to terminate a business that has been there for, I mean, the Trump organization has been, it's as New York as it gets, you know what I mean? It's that's like true. You think bagels, pizza, Trump, you know what I mean? That's when you're thinking about New York. Yeah, and so I don't understand. Exactly. It's just unbelievable. We're going to dive into that for a second. And finally, a lot of news coming out of the Vatican, Rome, Pope Francis. Again, there is a duvia that was issued by 5 cardinals. A duvia essentially is a request for clarification about his positions. This is the second time that Pope Francis, by the way, that would probably be like breaking a record when it comes to that kind of institution. When other cardinals, remember, cardinals are the people that also get to participate or being chosen as the future pope.
Correct.
When other cardinals are essentially saying, we don't understand what your position is about this. Can you please clarify, right? And then so, but we'll dive into that. Guys, campaign promise has to be broken because there is video out there saying not a single inch. Not an additional inch will be built on that wall under my watch, right? And guess what? They turn around right now. And they say, now here I want to hear your opinion, but I got one that I really think is really what happened there. Mm-hmm. But by the way, there is a conflict right now between Mallorca, which is the secretary in charge of our border security, and President Biden, because Mallorca is saying we need the wall, right? Mm-hmm. At this point, President Biden is still arguing wall doesn't work. Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre was confronted with that idea that you guys were all alone against it. She said, well, you know, the way this worked out, if we don't do it, we're going to be breaking the law. Like, what do you want us to break the law? Well, if that is the case, then you've been breaking the law from day one, up until this moment, you know what I mean? So that argument doesn't go well. But the fact of the matter is they say they couldn't allocate the monies on any other way, so now they are forced to continue to, that's not it. Anybody, like, they really thinking that the American people are going to be stupid enough to buy into it. By the way, some people will accept any excuses.
That was the thing. It's like he literally said that. He said, wait, well, the money was allocated for that, therefore it has to be used only for that. And I'm thinking, like, I get it, but what the hell is happening to like all of this tax money, social, all of them, like billions of dollars heading to Ukraine? Like, how is
Don't
this?
talk about that.
Like, no, that's what I mean. It's like, so this, whatever, $20 million, what is 20 miles, is it, of border that is going to be built? They couldn't figure out a way to lump the money. By the way, I'm pro wall, so it's not a problem. It's just stupid, the reason, and he still says, I don't believe it works. Still.
So for me, I don't know how I feel about the wall yet, honestly. And I'm not against it, but I'm not 100% for it. To me, I feel
Do you live
like,
in a house?
Huh? Yes, I do live in a house.
Do you have a fence in a house?
No, I don't have a fence.
Oh, okay.
I don't
So
have a
anybody
fence.
can just walk in and
Yeah,
use your
but
barbecue.
whether I have a fence or not,
Okay.
I have weapons of mass destruction. Because the
we
truth
got banned.
Yeah, all right.
Sorry, YouTube.
All right. So no, but the truth is, a wall is not going to stop somebody from getting in my yard. If somebody really wants to get in my yard, whether I have a fence or not, they're going to get in there. But then the issue is that am I going to create a bigger issue if I have a wall there?
Well,
It's a lot easier.
yeah,
For-
guys, so we're facing.
I just gotta walk and use
I
your
know,
barbecue.
There's two different components.
Yeah.
The first one is the whole campaign. I mean, this man ran into this whole
Well, he's
wall.
been lying all
We
along.
are
Why is everybody
prejudiced. You know, we
surprised?
are not. You know, we built like he ran into. That was the whole idea, right? We're not building a wall. We're gonna terminate this idea. As a matter of fact, right now, like I said, they literally gonna need to waive like 26 federal laws, environmental, most of them, to restart the project, right?
Got it.
So the political side of it is as hypocritical as we can possibly call it, because I mean some people are gonna believe whatever they want to believe. They don't have to build anything. They went into panic mode right now because reported just for the month of September, 260,000 people just for the month of September reported. Now, you know that's the
50
people who actually showed up, right? You're like, hey, I'm
here.
actually here. You can count it. There's
Yeah,
also a very large group of
Correct.
The potential number for the month of September is 400,000 people in
a
a
lot.
single month. That's
That's
a
a
lot
lot.
of people.
That's a
You
lot
can
of
literally change. I don't know. We have
zip
cities
code.
that don't have
Yeah,
400,000
that's true.
people, right? And
Yeah.
I'm talking about significant sized
Yeah.
cities, right? That political component is one issue. The second thing is, I agree with you. The reality is, for the people want to face that reality, hopefully is going to, once it's properly built, if it gets to be properly built,
Yeah.
it might discourage some people, it might slow down the whole thing, but it's not going to stop it 100%. That is not the solution.
Yeah.
But I'm up for it. But
Yeah.
here's what's going to happen, just so that you know. The announcement is made, it's going to be built.
Yeah.
How long do you think it's going to take before things actually start moving?
That's true.
And we're going from now until the holidays. You better believe, here we are, as we're doing this. This is today is what, October 6th, 2023.
Yeah.
Guys, you can
50,000
very easily
people.
expect 1 million to 1.2 million, maybe even 1.3 million from now until the end of December coming in through the border.
I get you. And the thing is, they've been working on I-4 since I was born. Right?
No.
So,
I saw my
yeah.
That's
So
okay.
I'm like, how
Yeah,
long is it
that's-
going to take them to build this
That's
wall?
New York. No, that's it's
Like-
gonna be a few.
It's gonna be a while. It's gonna be, and like I said, I'm not against it. I'm not against it. I just think it's not enough to say that this is gonna be a solution to fix all the problems. I think we got to think of, all right, once it's done, what does that mean? You know, so, and we got to start having those conversations from now, because if they're in the process of doing it, okay, what does that equal? What if there's a line of people outside of the wall? What do we do with that? What if now there's a humanitarian crisis on the other side of the wall? Is
But
that
that's-
our
that's-
issue?
But that's what
You
was
know-
taking place with under Title 42. You had a buildup of people that were then, and that really creates a humanitarian
Yeah.
crisis, and it does it for multiple reasons. You know, you're talking about all the. Again, the sexual abuse that takes place between female, the drug trafficking that is literally promoted and in many ways generated into
Yeah.
because of those environments. You know what I mean? But in addition to that, I mean, you truly have some people that are going to be facing all kind of health issues and all kind of problems just being parking there. So what do you do with that?
So for me, if you're gonna go forward with building a wall, you have to have a plan to say, okay, we're gonna have now this many people that are going to be securing the wall 24/7, and that's something we can do from now. We don't have to wait until the wall is built to say, all right, we're going to have this much additional people that's going to be securing this wall, or guiding people to say, all right, here's the direction
This
you
is
need
the
to
way
be
you're
going.
going.
So I think that process can happen now if that is the case.
You know what's funny?
But there's only like 2-3 people guarding like every
Correct, but
200 miles
that's
and stuff like that. So it's like, I understand what you were saying
Yeah.
about your weapons, but
You-
there's no, like, it doesn't.
You can watch. I was watching the news.
By the way,
and-
sorry,
and-
out of those 270,000, 50,000 were Venezuelan.
which they are actually going to start deporting now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah, if you
there's
cross
something that was
illegally,
not
there's deportation.
something that was not taking place. So now they're going to be facing deportation. Now they're going to be facing. So it appears that we are going to be applying some level of rule of law.
Yeah.
Again, we still have to see how the process is going to go. What are you going to do with the people that already made it all the way up to New York? They just got here. Because now, this is, again, we go back to the same issue, right?
Yeah.
That some people, depending on the timing, depending on what was going on, depending on either you got lucky
Yeah.
or you the unlucky group of
Yeah.
people there,
Correct,
right?
correct.
Because if you right now you walking in as part of that group that's gonna be grabbed and deported immediately, whatever that means, because
Yeah.
I don't know that they're gonna be grabbing you, sending you straight to the airport so you
Yeah.
can be sent back. It doesn't. It's still there's always a retention center where they send people to. But one of the things that listen, they saw the buildup. I'm looking at a few border patrol officers, literally just like smoking a cigarette, watching everybody
Run
by.
over.
No, like
Yeah.
this. At this point, everybody's like running in. Or you can. There have to be anywhere between 200 to 300 people that were running at the same
Yeah.
time. And you can see the guys just saying, listen, I'm just going to smoke a cigarette, just
Correct,
watch
correct.
this whole
What the
thing.
hell am I gonna
Let me
do?
stay out of
Yeah.
trouble and the whole
Correct.
thing. Somebody else was even directing them to which way to go. But they definitely at this point, you just couldn't hide it anymore, right?
Yeah.
So every news outlet start reporting, every politician, every internal mayor city starts to complain
having
and getting
an issue,
affected.
right.
But can I tell you what I really believe was the breaking point for this?
What was it?
You ready for this? You ready
Yeah,
for
I'm
this?
ready.
You ready? Elon Musk
Yeah,
going to the
probably.
freaking border
Mhm.
Yeah.
and now reporting out there,
Yeah, I get you.
you know,
Yeah.
blasting them
Citizen
about
journalism. A win for citizen
well,
journalism.
Listen,
I love
Yeah.
it.
when I saw that happening, and I was telling everybody in our last conversation, I was extremely excited about it because I'm
That's
saying
true, that was a week
something
ago,
is going to
exactly.
come out of it exactly a week ago, right? I'm saying something is going to come out of it because now he's putting it out there, and again, he's doing something that, as I stated before, how many politicians we have right now that they haven't even gone to the border just to see what the
That's
hell is
true.
You
going
should
on?
go to Pelosi's office. Let's see what happens there.
So here it goes, right? And says here's what's taking place. Now that, and by the way, he's gonna be under investigation because of the way he acquired Twitter. I mean, this guy is under attack, man, and he's gonna be under attack, no different than what's taking place with Donald Trump. But I will tell you that to me was that little
Yeah, that's true.
drop that put it over the top
I
in
get
terms
you.
of then becoming
Yeah.
concerned and afraid of the whole situation. And so, so here's the way I see it, guys. As far as the problem with the whole immigration system is that we need to stop doing exactly what we're doing right now, which is just to try to put a little bit of a Band-Aid, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Again, talking about we're going to build a wall, we need a wall, by the way. We do need a wall. We do need to control certain things that have nothing to do with immigration, that have more to do with crime, right? We do need a wall. It's healthy for us to signal to everybody, hey, it's got to be a different way. We got to signal that to everybody outside of the country, but we need to understand that ourselves. This is not going to be enough to stop. I promise you, you can build it as tall as you want to build it, as close as you want to close it, and somebody will find a way to get in, because what a lot of people are running away from is really, really difficult, right? So now, we're still not addressing the issue of what are you going to do to process the people that we have here now.
400,000 people a month.
Right, the new people that are coming in. What are you gonna do to stabilize? Are you gonna round these people around and send them back? Are you gonna give them work permits? Are you gonna expedite the process for many people that have been waiting for years to try to get some kind of approval? People that are inside of the country, people that are outside of the country trying to do legal immigration. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
They are not like, it's a system that is broken. How do you expedite? How do you make things go a little faster? We have some good people that want to come here. Some people that actually have some money to come. They can bring into the economy. You know what I mean? And they can. And there's so much red tape, but they're gonna spin it this one around though. I don't know how they're gonna successfully claim because this is the monies and the work that was done by the Trump administration.
Mm-hmm.
They can try to dress it up as much as they want to, put all the makeup you want, but
It's still a pig.
it's still a pig, right? And so at the end of the day, the fact that you had Mayorkas and Biden basically in opposite positions, because Mayorkas is saying we do need the wall, and President Biden is saying walls don't work. You know what I mean? And so, and he doesn't believe that it's going to be effective. If you don't believe it's going to be effective, why build it? Why don't you just do executive orders saying, hey, we're not doing anything with that? How about we put the money back? We don't have to spend it. If you don't believe that that's the case, we don't have to,
that's true.
or we can allocate it to something else. But anyway, listen, I think that is it's going to send a positive signal, but it also, we run the risk of creating another rush, meaning people that are saying, holy crap, let me go now
Right.
before that wall goes up. So this is one of those things that unless we become very, very serious about how to handle this whole situation, it's going to be a problem that's
Yeah,
going to be
absolutely.
no matter what.
Absolutely.
So you're saying this is potentially because it's gonna be a half-ass solution, meaning it's only 20 miles, they're not gonna finish it, they're not committed to that, and it's obvious, maybe they will, it's gonna create a rush of people coming in.
We are essentially a year now from an election, and 13 months essentially
Mhm.
away from the election, and this is one of those issues that is essentially creating that separation between Donald Trump and President Biden. Even though there's a lot of people that are not happy about the fact that President Trump was not able to finish the wall, right, during his first tenure as president.
He's gonna be like,
Uh,
I'm in jail and still building it.
But the fact of the matter is that it is that work and that initiative that got it done. So the separation, they looking into an election year where it's going to be very difficult for them to make a case. So what happens is people want to believe what they want to believe. People forget quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're going to make this argument saying, look what we did securing the country, right?
That's true.
When in reality, he campaiged against it the last time around. Not only he campaigned against it, he
We
took
need to
a lot
like
of
clip
actions.
this part of the
Yeah,
video
you know.
and like bring it up in
Just-
October
just-
next
just,
year.
like people,
Huh.
as a reminder, but that video that you were referring to, trust me, that is going to intensify. They're going to keep playing that, saying not a single inch is going to be built. Now you're going back, and by the way, he's still even at this very moment, he had the opportunity to say, you know what, let me correct myself.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's something that we truly need. We're sending the wrong signal. I think it's definitely needed. He still doubles down on, I'm doing it because I have no choice. So if you're gonna go with the I have no choice narrative, you can't take credit for it later on.
I
You
get
know what I
you.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
look, I haven't secured the country.
Yeah.
That's not. Hopefully, people. Well, who knows? You know what I mean? Everybody
The
buys into
leader
a lot
of
of
the
stuff.
free world is his hands are tied.
Man, so with that being said, even Congress got very messy with this whole situation with Speaker of the House. I didn't want to do a reaction video because there was so many reaction videos that came out, and I wasn't quite convinced that people. Some of the stuff that I saw coming out, I said, you know what? Let me just leave it alone so that we can make it part of a conversation. Kevin McCarthy is out, Speaker of the House for only 9 to 10 months, essentially, right? And so during the election process, and everybody that is familiar with politics was very much against it. They created a provision that said that any member of Congress can introduce a resolution asking for a vote to remove the Speaker of the House
Gotcha.
if they didn't agree. So this is. This is essentially, the term that they use, the tyranny of the few, right? The same way that people are afraid of the tyranny of the masses, right? This is when the tyranny of the few comes into play. You essentially right now have 8 congressmen or Congress people that are essentially controlling the rest of Congress, or they can hold them hostage.
Yeah.
Because essentially those eight, along with Democrats, obviously Democrats don't want anybody. They're going to vote against anything that has to do with, and he got ousted. And by the way, listen, again, the whole thing was he was going to make a tougher position when it came to dealing, especially with the budget, right? With, and I get it, I understand, but especially Matt Gaetz, freed from the state of Florida. You know what I mean? Is the one that was driving this whole situation. He's the one who introduced the petition. But the fact of the matter is, he also doesn't look well. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, what McCarthy ended up taking was a system that was so extremely broken, where there is not only you don't have a lot of negotiation power, you also don't have a big majority. You know what I mean? Like, where you can literally have the luxury to say, not only that you being held hostage by the fact that it's a 50-50 divided Congress, right? And at the same time, you also got to deal with your own party, not necessarily supporting everything. So depending on what kind of politics, so this it gets very complicated, even for whoever is going to come in. There's two names that are being mentioned: Steve Scalise from Louisiana, and Jim Jordan, who currently is the chairman of the Judiciary Committee. Believe it or not, at some point even Donald Trump was mentioned as a potential Speaker of the House.
He doesn't have to be part of Congress.
Because he doesn't have to be part of Congress, and he has enough former experience as a former president to be able to play. So for a moment I was like, I think I would love to see that, because he can subpoena the hell out of everybody, including every single one of the judges that's making his life miserable. He can investigate. Just think about that for a second. I mean, talking about subpoenaing the Biden administration, talking about, I mean, he could have gotten down the line with everybody that is also going after him at this very moment. So, but I don't know if we need that kind of distraction.
It took, like, how many votes in order for McCarthy to be elected as Speaker of the House?
Correct.
It happened, like, a couple months ago that it was like, here is number 12. What's it? It's like, it was like at the 14th vote or something like that. It was so it took a really long time to get him going, and to get him in that position. And then also, in addition to that, like a couple months later, then he also makes history. I think this is the first time it's ever happened.
Correct. Over 100 years.
In over 100 years, right? So here's the way that I'm processing is, like, why is there conflict internally? Like, is the same Republican Party kind of like fighting against each other when there is so much more shit on the other side that has to be handled? So that the thing that concerns me is, will it put the party in a position where maybe even because the House is being controlled right now by Republicans, not the Senate but the House, right?
Correct.
And so that creates gridlock. But will this move have a ripple effect where the actual House is lost now, and so everything, Congress goes back to the power of...
You can put it at risk, because here's what happens, Alexei, right? Is at the end of the day, everything is it boils down to how much recruiting can you do when it comes to new votes, right?
Gotcha. Yeah.
And so, yes, the whole idea is that you're supposed to make it bigger, right? And get more people to help you control the House, right? The problem is, when people look at things like this, right, and the so-called ultra-right, because that's what this 8 other congressmen represent, the ultra-right, where they're saying, we want a clean bill, we want to... By the way, what they're asking for are absolutely good things for the country, right? They're absolutely good things for the country. But remember, the last time we had a balanced budget is going back to, what was it, 90s, right? Right? And so, what McCarthy was trying to
There are children that can drink and rent cars.
Yeah.
And they have never seen a balanced budget
for the country. And right? And so what you have right now is crazy. You can start getting closer. You can start moving yourself in that direction. But at the same time, you can do it in a way that it doesn't look like you want to destroy the country. Because the problem with Republicans is they really don't do a phenomenal job selling their great ideas. By the way, great ideas. I'm saying we do need a balanced budget. You need to separate what is needed for a country to operate, and separate it from things like how much money are we going to send to Ukraine? How much money? Because that's the problem with these things, right? They start loading up things into it and loading up things into it and loading up things into it. And so we haven't had a clean, I don't even know at what point the idea of adding other things to a budget process or a process where we're supposed to come up with the money is going to allow us to operate the country properly. I don't know how that got started, but here is where we are. Yeah. And so I understand when somebody is looking for, and I do want to support the idea of us heading in that direction. But at the end of the day, you got to be very careful that people look at these moments and they blame a group of people very easily. And that this guy, Matt Gaetz, it's a risk now. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's a risk internally. It's a risk at an election just because you can get to the point of becoming extremely unreasonable, and they can just move you out. You know what I mean, and take you out. So, how do you see this whole thing playing out?
So for me, I think it's good in some sense that you do have the checks and balances from different individuals. So I don't think it's healthy when everybody's thinking the same, which it's messed up because I want everybody to think how I think, but I think we need a difference of ideas in order for us to get to a resolution that actually makes sense. So then it's one of those things where, even like you were saying, as far as the parties fighting internally, I think that's good though. I don't want to see where every single person is thinking the same exact way. And sometimes I don't know. Maybe that's just my thoughts on it. But like I said,
but make no mistake about it. I love me some debate. I love opposing opinions. I just don't think it's going to be healthy for,
but sometimes you need that.
If you're fighting here, how the hell are you fighting over there?
No, but if we're not on the same page, we're not going to be useful to defeat any opponent that is on the same page. So sometimes we need to fight internally just so that we come up with all right, here's where we need to be. So that's just how I think about it. So like I said, I think no matter what, in order for us as a country to get where we need to be, we got to fix ourselves as a country. And that equals some friction, that equals some cleaning up. Sometimes you don't like cleaning because it's like, all right, I got to get rid of this person.
No,
I got to do with this person. So I think it's like one of those things where I think we're seeing this process happen, and sometimes it's not always what you want to see, but I think it's necessary, for us to go through the process.
A lot of people look at the process though, and however healthy it is, because it is healthy, there is some level of disagreement, and essentially, you know what I mean? Because that makes everybody sharper when it comes to even making the argument about the things that they believe, right? You need to have that opposite perspective. But when people are looking at these moments, though, a lot of people just mostly either get discouraged or they see it as something that is petty taking place. Like the average person watching these things. I mean, these things don't play out on a private level. This is not what we will call, internal disagreement or internal competition. This is playing out in front of everybody. And so for people that don't know how to read what's taking place, they just essentially, in many cases, become discouraged. Because if you, and I agree with you on the sense that if they were saying, let's take this moment to address the things that we don't agree with internally so that we can actually fight a better fight when it comes to what has to be done externally, meaning our position against the Democrats, there was no reason for the House to be so closely divided. You know what I mean? We expected the last election to have a landslide. That didn't happen. Why? Well, that tells you.
Drop, not a wave.
You know what I mean? So you're looking at a scenario with people, right? And you're going, man. So what are we selling to all the people, and how are they understanding what is needed when it comes to? Listen, we had a significant breakdown in the last 2-3 years of law and order. The economy, man, everybody, like I'm getting to a point where I there's certain things I don't want to watch myself, you know what I mean? thinking about what housing, commercial buildings, commercial facilities, locations.
Defaulting.
Literally, $95 million payment.
Freaking crazy.
Yeah.
We
So
work.
yeah.
No more.
Yeah,
We
they-
don't. We don't work.
We were working.
At some point, they were worth $47 billion. You know what I mean? And right now,
Yes.
this is it's a free fall. But it's coming, right? For a number of reasons. Listen, there's a number of changes that are taking place out there. But at the end of the day, those are the issues that we need to address internally. And as to whether or not we're gonna still have the opportunity to say we have a free country where there is opportunity for all, right? If you want to do something and make it happen, opposed to so I will tell you, when I see these moments, right, and I'm thinking about what is going to be the perception that people are going to get out of this whole situation, knowing that and Democrats do know how to. They do a better job selling because it's easy to sell. Everybody come in, we're gonna get you free this and free that and free.
And you're a victim.
Free is always easy and free is always good. You know what I mean? To sell, it's
You're
not
oppressed.
that complicated, and you're a victim, right? But as it is, the Republican have to deal with selling something that is a little tougher to sell because it requires for everybody to start saying, okay, it's time to grow up.
Yeah.
It's time to assume some personal responsibility. It's time to look at my personal situation and say, okay, I'm the one who's responsible to fix it, not the government, and so on and so forth. But the government is supposed to function, though. You know what I mean? And in order for people to be able to do these things. So I am looking forward for a new Speaker of the House to be elected so that we can go back to the business of really arguing about what's best for the country at this very moment. Hey, listen, I'm absolutely happy that we're going to use some money to even build a wall just because at least we're going to do something for our country because we've been doing everything to secure Ukraine in their border. And we have done just about nothing, you know what I mean, to secure our border. And guys, I want to just side note, like quickly in there, I just want to tell you, as we have a conversation about this in politics, when you have somebody like Vladimir Putin, right, looking at how our system works, here's the only thing that he's doing. He's just waiting for this whole term to be work. He's not expecting for somebody like Joe Biden to be elected again, right? And he knows that it is that group of people that is throwing all kinds of money to Ukraine right now for whatever reasons. Let's assume that there is a component there that is really to say we want to help what's going on with that country, we want a balance of power, whatever, that we support NATO because we are one of the members and we are going to blah, blah, blah. All those things. Putin is looking at the whole situation saying, listen, I know how this works.
13 months.
I just got to, literally, I just got to outlast you.
That's funny.
And this whole thing, by the way, that's exactly what he's doing. He doesn't have to do anything greater than, because the moment, just think about this. What do you think is going to happen to Ukraine if the money dries up? Especially from our side. When we're putting more money than anybody else into that. So the war is over. That's it. You know, Putin at that point is going to say, you know what? I was only planning to take this much. I think I'm going to go half for our country now. I don't know exactly how it's going to play out. But unfortunately, this is the part of how the rest of the planet is operating with China, with Russia, with some of these other countries, that all they got to do is they just sit and watch having a gigantic, bag of popcorn, how stupid our politics get sometimes, right? And how we can't even agree on simple things, never mind what's going to happen at an international level. This is why sometimes, when you look at some of these dictatorships, you know what I mean? And you go like, man, this place is like, looks like they're operating better than we are, you know what I mean? Because talking about alignment, talking about everybody thinking the same way. Otherwise, but I'm just giving you a heads up. I'm looking at this whole scenario, you know what I mean? And I'm saying this is the kind of stuff that from the outside, right? Now you have people that, listen, essentially at this point, Putin can be easily labeled a dictator, right? Somebody has managed to pretend that there was elections taking place, but at the end of the day, he did a lot of things right for Russia. Like this whole situation is not that clear anymore between Ukraine and Russia anymore. It's not cut and dried, and I'm not 100% against one the way I was at the very beginning of the process. I think that at this point, there's so much that went wrong where responsibility can be assigned to one and the other equally at this point. And the fact that nobody wants to come to the table, and here we are draining every penny we have
It's crazy.
to continue to support this process, when what are we doing
For
with the
ourselves.
many stuff that we have going on? Guys, we're falling apart as a country right now.
Yep.
Right? So I hope they get it together. I hope we have a way to, or I'm looking forward to the moment where us as a country can become clear enough about what it is that we need to support, not just a political party, but what is it that we need to support that would be best for
We
the
need
country.
what do they do to the Pope? The
Aduvia.
Aduvia, there you go. The
Aduvia.
country needs Aduvia.
Anyway, guys,
That's funny.
so let's go into Trump, right? Trump is that person that came into power, did it so outside of the traditional ways of dealing with politics. The politics will never be the same because, and I don't know if it's good or bad, to be quite honest with you. A lot of things got exposed. A lot of people that play the game of statesmanship and refined politicians, you know what I mean, are now you're looking at this guy and say, okay, listen, we need a little crazy these days because it's the only way that's gonna. So the man came in, changed the game, loses the election. Nothing happens for the first 2 years, up until the point that he makes it very clear that he's gonna run again, and then all hell breaks loose. I can't even explain to you how it's. I mean, guys, you're talking about the worst nightmare that you can potentially have as a business is to have a judge to say we are going to terminate your licenses, your ability to do business in a state altogether.
Where all of your shit is.
By the way, you're talking about hundreds, if not thousands, of people that will get affected,
Yeah.
right? And
Job-wise.
just jobs, the economy.
Yeah.
Let's assume that every single one of the Trump facilities gets to be shut down, right? And I'm sure that there was going to be choices at some point to either sell it. You know, I know that at that level, there's a few things that you'll be able to do, right? What they requested right now was a motion to state. A motion to state is essentially say, we're going to take our case to the Court of Appeals because we don't agree with your ruling. So we're going to explain to the Court of Appeals why is it that we don't agree, that we don't believe that you should have the right to terminate our licenses. And in the meantime, you still have the ability to operate.
Yeah.
So essentially, you have the threat
Part-time.
over you.
Yeah.
Yeah, the threat over you.
Yeah.
You have the potential risk looming over you,
Yeah.
right? And that just buys you enough time to either decide, do we have a good argument or are we still going to lose the argument no matter what? What do we do in the process?
Is this the same judge that said that Mar-a-Lago is only worth $18 million?
The same judge.
This
Correct,
is a
yeah.
freaking like.
Correct.
Are you free? Like, are you
Correct.
shopping by the way? Like, let's
So-
go.
so-
Like, let's put our money together and buy
I called a
Mar-a-Lago.
few friends and I said,
I'm
listen,
like-
how about we take that deal? You know what I mean? Because an
Jesus.
empty lot next to Mar-a-Lago, an empty lot, there's almost close to
Empty, meaning
empty.
like
There's nothing in it.
It's
not even a cow.
It's worth $200 million. Just
checking.
just the dirt,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Just the dirt. And so when you have, but listen, the Attorney General Letitia James, that literally there's videos again running into when she was running for. That's how she got elected. I'm gonna go after Trump. So this was politically motivated. The man decides to run for president. They throw in everything against him, not just the kitchen sink, but the kitchen itself, right? And this liberal judge, Arthur Engoron, is the one that, again, said $18 million for. You know, you look at the man, it's scary. This is a clownish-looking individual. You know what I mean? That you don't even, and you go like, these are the people that have the power. You know how scary it is.
Yeah.
This is where again a democracy, right?
Yeah.
You know, these are the flaws of
Yeah, I get
somebody that will have the power
Mm-hmm.
to, and the judicial though, you know what I mean, to have that much power to say hereby your business is shut down.
Yeah.
Who the hell? How is that even okay?
Yeah.
We're not talking about a little bodega in
Yeah, I
the
get
corner.
you, yeah.
You know what I mean? This is
Yeah.
this is a multi-billion-dollar
Mm-hmm.
business,
So
right?
I feel like this is a weird space because I'm not sure who should have more power between government or business. You know, like my brain wants to say businesses should have more power. You know, I'm not sure if that's true or not in certain situations. And what I'm saying is this. So it reminds me of the situation with what was going on with Disney. You know, we're gonna bring up Disney again, right? So I feel like Disney they do too much for the state, for the government to say, I'm gonna stop what you're doing, and you shouldn't. Not only should you not be allowed to do that, that's bad. Not only for business, but it's bad for the state. So then the state shouldn't be allowed to do something that hurts the state itself, even if I don't like you. Do you get what I'm saying? So I don't know how big of
if they're doing business, yeah, but if they're doing business, you should be allowed them to help them, like anything that is expansion, anything is operations, anything that deals with, if it's a theme park, have fun. But the problem with a corporation, when it goes into having the power to dictate certain narratives, you know what I mean? Like right now, the three biggest investment corporations are dictating the green movement agenda.
Gotcha.
That everybody is for. So when you're talking about the World Economic Forum, literally announcing that by 2030 or by 2050,
We're all eating crickets.
yeah, nobody will be driving. Like you won't even own a car.
correct, yeah.
Like the funny thing is that they say you won't own a car, but you will still have the ability to use an app like Uber, so that somebody can come and get you. Then who owns the cars? If I don't own the car, who's going to own the car that's going to come pick me up?
Yeah.
Right? But to me, that issue with Disney was heading in that direction,
Gotcha.
where they wanted to dictate things about family. That's outside of your business functionality. That's not what the Trump organization was doing in New York ever. It was all about construction, new companies, new opportunity, expansion of business, the expansion of the brand. Regardless of anything, though, if you really go by the book, and you're gonna subpoena everybody who at some point, either intentionally or by mistake, representing the value of something, at the end you got it. The question is, where is the harm done?
So
like who got
to me, I
affected?
think it's sorry to cut you. Let me just say this real quick. I think it's the same thing because I feel like the issue is that business and politics are going to be merged at some point in time. So then, for example, if I believe in something and I own a business, right, my beliefs are going to bleed into that business.
In my utopia, let me tell you about my utopia, because you asked the question and said, I don't know who should have more power, government or business.
Yes.
In my utopia, I look at it like a soccer game.
Okay.
And the government is supposed to be the referee.
Got you.
No one should vote. Like, the teams get to hatch it out, right? They get to play, they get to do so. For me, government is meant to make the rules and, like, put rules in place to make sure that this team is not killing the other team, like, quite literally killing the other team.
I got you.
But it's meant to, like, you're meant to, like, have some punches. You're meant to tackle some people. It's soccer.
Yeah.
And so in the game of business is freaking war.
Yeah.
For me, government has to regulate it, but in no way, shape, or form should government have the power to, like, say, you win and you lose.
But what if we know, like in most sports, a lot of sports,
utopia.
What if the players get so rich to where they start paying off refs? Now I got to question, what is this ref doing for what? Do you get what I'm saying? So then we know that businesses influence governments, right? And then if I got enough money,
lobbying.
So then if, like what I was trying to say is, if my politics is going to bleed into my businesses, then I'm going to try to shut down your business because of the politics. So I feel like in both senses with Disney and with Trump, they don't have issues with his business. I think they have an issue with his politics. And then so because they have an issue with this, I'm going to find every way to shut down your business, which
I'm gonna weaponize the justice system. Justice is not meant to be in politics.
I agree, but what I'm saying is I understand why they're doing it. Now, like I said, I have an issue with it, but I understand why they're trying to do it. Is what I'm saying.
That is essentially the problem, because that is the problem, though. That's essentially, and by the way, just so that you know, because of statute of limitations, 80% of the case is basically thrown out. So the last 20%, as a matter of fact, originally Trump was suing, the judge was suing. The attorney general was suing. They already dropped those lawsuits because they realized that the other 20% But so now the strength of that case went from being something super scary, but that still doesn't take away the power from that judge to be able to say, you know what, I
Can I tell you
hereby
something?
I have the power to shut your business down. And listen,
Yeah.
I agree with you. It is a political move.
Yeah.
Not only that they want to discourage you, they want to destroy you. They want to make sure it's like, how dare you,
Yeah.
right? Think that you can jump in to ruin the party we have going on. Right, because remember, this never happened.
Yeah.
Not even the first
So,
time that he was
I
running.
got it, but then here's my question then. So then, I don't know if we can stop them in this situation, right? But then be okay with someone else being stopped when it's not something that goes with
I
what
don't
I
want this
believe.
kind
in.
of game to
Whoa,
happen
whoa,
to
whoa.
anybody.
Hang on.
No.
So-
guys, let me make this very clear.
Yeah.
If I disagree with you politically,
Mhm.
right, I think that if you're going to compete at that level,
Yeah.
it should be your ideas, not the business that took you a lifetime to build. I don't care how extreme left or how extreme right, because now you're going against your own family. Listen, that would be worse than the mafia. You know what I mean? It's like you want to destroy somebody financially. You want to destroy that family financially. But by the way, talking about the many casualties, the innocent bystanders. You know what I mean? All the families that work for these organizations, they're going to be laid off just because you don't like my political position. You're going to have what difference is between this and that shit that we complain about what happens in Cuba or Venezuela
so,
right now?
So literally, that's what I'm gonna tell you exactly. Like this is a tale and it's a warning. This dude loses the ability to do business in New York because some judge decided to do that. That is no different than this thing. You can look it up. It's called Lista de Tascón. And it was a list that was put together for people in Venezuela that actually voted against a referendum. And the moment they voted no, the back of their ID was marked with a giant X. So if you were to go
Going back
into
to
a
the
bank
Nazis,
and you wanted to get a credit because you had an X in your thing, the bank knew exactly your political position, and therefore you were not granted
Yes.
a credit. You were not granted the ability to do business. So all of this shit really, all of these things, I don't want to get canceled, but it's all of these things really matter to everyday people, because if at some point you want to do business but you vote for the wrong party, this is what, look it up, Venezuela, Lista de Tascón. It's really freaking scary.
I just want to make sure I'm clear. I agree this shouldn't happen. But what I'm saying is if it can't happen here, it also can't happen with companies like Disney. And I don't agree with Disney's views. But what I'm saying is I don't want the government to be allowed to say, Disney, you can't do business because I don't agree with your views politically.
But when
that's what
did
I'm
that-
saying. So you think they were trying to shut down Disney because of anything outside of
who was trying to
politics?
shut down Disney?
Oh my!
No.
Yes, they were trying to shut down Disney.
That's not what happened.
So then everything that they were doing as far as fining them for having immigrant workers or fining them for everything, they're trying to stop them from doing business the way they were doing business because they had a city that was allowing them to now push an agenda where they have they're teaching kids about as far as what type of books they should be or shouldn't be. That was what the whole thing was about. It had nothing to do with any money. It's about, I don't like the way that you're running a town. And you shouldn't be allowed to run a town
Because it is a business. A business does not run a town.
But what I'm saying is, where do you draw the line on that? Is what I'm saying. Because for you to now say that as a business you're not allowed to have ideas that you are pushing, then that's the same situation that's happening here. That's what I'm
They
saying.
can-
I
push all the
understand, guys. I understand what
Go
you're
ahead.
saying, but just so you know,
It's completely
here's the
different.
drastic difference, though. You didn't have a judge in the state of Florida telling Disney, "We're gonna pull your license to operate."
Correct. And I
That
don't
never
want them to.
happened.
That's
That
what I'm
never
saying. I don't
happened.
want them to.
By the way, everything else that's going on, right? Like they're gonna come after him. Like the level of listen. Let's assume that it's even somewhere somehow healthy when somebody disagrees so strongly with you that they're gonna really put a lot of pressure. Because if you really stand in solid ground when it comes to your positions, you go like, bring it. I'm willing to fight the fight. So I'm okay with the Trump organization, with Donald Trump and his family literally saying right now, bring it. I'm willing to fight a fight. No different than the situation with Disney saying, listen, bring it. We're going to fight a fight. You want to remove that privilege that we have. That was a privilege that they had. All those discounts and all those benefits. Then we have the right to decide if we want to invest additional money in the state of Florida. That was playing out the way it's supposed to.
Gotcha.
I don't agree. I don't like it. Here's my position. They were going back and forth, and at the end of the day, it looks like it's landing somewhere as it is supposed to. At some point, hopefully, rational minds come into place. People will cool off and say, you know what, this is not a good idea for anybody.
Gotcha.
But I agree with you. Something that was triggered out of a disagreement, out of a position, somebody took a political position, right? This is different, though. This is different because at the end of the day,
Which one's
was
different?
the situation with New York is different in the sense that it's elevated by a single person who says, I hereby terminate your license and your ability to operate. That never happened with Disney. That never happened with Disney. Not even did they put pressure, did they play a few games here and there? 1,000%. That's the game of pressure. I'm okay with somebody putting pressure against Donald Trump because, like I said, essentially that is going to test his desire, his capacity, and his willingness to really fight it out.
Yeah.
I don't think this guy's going anywhere. I think that this guy, even if they throw him out of New York, he's not going. At this point, he's too deep in it.
Correct.
And so what is actually taking place is, and I don't know if this is good and bad, right? Some people that are saying, man, Trump is going to lose. You don't understand. Once he becomes the candidate, he's going to lose. And what's actually happening is the Democrats are doing a phenomenal job making him more likable. Like it's right now, he's being victimized left and right, and everybody's going, you know, that's a little too much. I think I'm actually going to support him this time around. But if that's the guy that's going to lose, and they writing, first of all, I don't believe the Democrats are that clever, but who knows? It's possible. But even anybody that goes from, I didn't have an issue with I didn't like the lawsuit. I didn't like the way it was being. This is not a jury trial. This is a single judge that is going to have. What happened to it? This is a judge who literally,
By the power of God.
Yeah, no, this is even a judge that literally says, you know what? Sometimes the jury gets it wrong. But that's our system. You know what I mean? That's your system.
Correct.
And yes, sometimes we get it right. Sometimes we get it wrong. We get it wrong. But at the same time, you had more people involved opposed to a single person. Man, this is a whole different level. When somebody's literally playing God with your livelihood and your business and all, that's the part that we all got to be careful with. That it goes down to this.
Look up that list, y'all.
Man, to me,
I agree.
Okay.
I agree. They shouldn't have the power to do so.
Not like that. You know what I mean? Like I understand the comparison you were drawing on that, but this is something that was taken to a whole different level. Anyway, listen, we see how the whole thing is going to play out. Here's another thing that happened though. By the state being requested. By the way, he has the right to go to the Court of Appeals whether they like it or not, and that gives them the ability to continue to function. Listen, those courts are backed up to the point that they're not going to hear the first hearing probably 6 months from now. Now, the next thing you know, we already in top of the election. So the time that they didn't want to give him, because every time he requested for, just a delay or they wanted to, the time that they said, we're not granting you any exceptions, you got to be here and you got to be, so now this absolutely is going to open the door for him to have additional time to decide what to do with his business. And politically, it's just going to give him a little more room. So again, this is one of those things that's going to end up biting them in the back and is going to become an issue. But guys, I think it's a very scary thing to witness. Like right now, what you're seeing, this whole situation, what's taking place with Donald Trump. I think at this point, any reasonable individual has got to get to the point of saying, okay, this is really not.
They do too much.
Just think about if you happen to be a decent human being who also happens to be a business guy.
Yeah.
And you start, at some point you were thinking about running for office, you know what I mean? And you're a good guy, good ideas. And you're like,
I don't know about that one.
I don't know about that anymore. I think I'm done.
Business.
Let me stick to,
Correct.
Not only let me stick to business, let me stay quiet.
Correct.
So
and I'd rather run the country without being out in the open.
Let me see what kind of money I can make.
Correct.
Yeah.
Vote with your dollars.
Like,
share,
comment, pass it around. Let us know what you're
Share.
thinking. All right?
Bye.
Peace. Thank you.